guys. Hello everyone. I'm so tired of that. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I just really am so excited to be filming, and there's a couple reasons why I'm happy. Just because I love talking to you guys, I love filming videos, and also I feel pretty amazing right now physically. So I posted a picture on Instagram yesterday basically saying why I wasn't filming that day, and I would have a video up in a day or two. And so I'm gonna try to keep this brief. Basically, I have had a history of back problems for over a decade now. I was an equestrian rider for about half of my life, so it kind of takes a toll on you physically. So I've had a lot of problems in and out of physical therapy, doctors, all that kind of sort of thing. And so last summer I started seeing a chiropractor, and a couple months into seeing him, I started experiencing sciatic pain, nerve pain. And if any of you have ever experienced this, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is excruciating, it's unpleasant, all those things. Typically people who experience it only experience it for a day or two, or maybe up to a month or so. It's not really horrible. But mine progressed and started to get worse over months. So starting in August of last year, I started feeling this. I saw an orthopedic towards the end of last year, MRI, and all that fun stuff later. Basically turned out that my disc had been 99% sure herniated, one of my discs in my spine, and it was hitting my sciatic nerve, which was making it so I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't walk correctly, I couldn't stand correctly, I couldn't do normal physical activities that most people can do, like shave your legs in the shower, or get in and out of a car, or walk long distances, or even get out of bed without being in like mind-numbing pain, if that makes sense. So I started seeing a physical therapist, and that was going well for a while, and then it basically hit a wall, and they were like, listen, we think you need to get a back injection. The orthopedic had told me I probably was going to need one, but I had chosen to do physical therapy instead because needles freak me out. So after a while of putting it off, and basically Tom was like, listen, you need to get one. People are telling you need to get one. You need to make the appointment. And it took me about 3 weeks to actually get a hold of the people. But yesterday, early in the morning, I went in and I got a spinal injection, which was called an epidural steroid injection, which means they injected a steroid through the spot where women get epidurals while they're in labor. It was not a fun experience. It was terrifying. Tom went with me because you're not allowed to drive afterwards because they numb you, and my pain was going down my right leg, so obviously that's the foot you drive with, so you can't really do much afterwards. And they wouldn't allow him in the room with me, which was kind of a shock. I was about to walk in. I was like, well, can he come in and hold my hand, during the injection? And they're like, no, he can't. And I was like, oh, like deer in the headlights, like, oh, okay. So I gave him a kiss. I walked in. I'm in, one of those gown things they make you wear. My hair's in one of those cap things that nurses and doctors wear when they're in surgery. And I walk in and they bring me into a surgical room because I'm in a surgical pain management place. And I started crying. It freaked me out. I was so scared. They're like, it looks scarier than it is. We do surgeries in here, but you're not getting a surgery. It's okay. You'll be in and out in 10 minutes at most. It's alright. So they had me lay on my stomach, which is uncomfortable to begin with because anytime I'm on my stomach or extend my back like that, it causes more pain to go down my leg. And when I say pain down my leg, I mean shooting down from the lower back all the way to the bottom of my foot. And it's like burning, cramping, numbing, tingling, on fire, searing pain 24/7. So get in there, they clean my skin. They're like, okay, my doctor's like, I'm gonna warn you before you feel anything. And I'm like, okay, great. So they clean my skin. And I'm thinking, you know, all right, he's gonna warn me, and I'm gonna have a couple seconds to like process it. And they're like asking me questions about my job to kind of calm me down because I had been crying. And all of a sudden he's like, all right, you're gonna feel a sting. Only lasts for a couple seconds. And he's like, here we go. And I was like, no. And all of a sudden it like, the numbing needle went in, and I think it was really little because it hurt so bad. And a couple seconds later I couldn't really feel anything, and then I felt a lot of pressure from when he put a different needle in to, I think they put iodine or something in there, some kind of like a pigment or a dye or something to see where they needed to go, because they kept asking me if I was allergic to iodine and shellfish, which was weird. And then he's like, all right, you're gonna feel another like zing, and all of a sudden the sciatic nerve was just like, pooh, I felt it, like he touched it, and it was just like, oh my god, like I was gripping the pillow in front of me and everything. And then a couple minutes later he's like, all right, you're gonna feel something because I'm putting the medicine in now. And I felt the nerve kind of flare up and go down my leg, which wasn't as bad as some of the pain I have been experiencing for the last 8 months of my life. But yeah, so that's my little spiel. I had to get an injection yesterday and I really couldn't do much, so I watched a lot of movies and Netflix and just hung out on the couch while Tom worked from home. And now I'm here, and I gotta say, they told me it would take probably until the weekend until I really felt a difference, but I actually feel, other than being sore, since, you know, I got stabbed with multiple needles yesterday in my back, I feel pretty good. I feel like I have a lot more movement. I was able to shave my legs today in the shower. I was able to walk without a limp. So I'm actually feeling a lot better. If any of you have ever experienced this or had a back injection, leave your story down below. I'd love to be able to talk to other people who went through similar situations and kind of see how you dealt with it. Anyway, enough with my rambling and my complaining or storytelling. I blame it on being a Leo. They say a Leo's problem is everyone's problem. So as you can see from the title of this video, I am not going to be talking about any specific makeup products. I think we can really get caught up in specific products and brands, eyeshadows, blushes, highlighters, all that kind of thing when it comes to makeup. But today I really wanted to focus on the tools you use to apply your makeup and the essential ones that I think you kind of need in your kit or collection or a makeup bag or whatever you have, that will make applying makeup easier. It will make it look better. It will just help you overall. So that's what I want to talk about today. I don't have a whole lot, but I kind of had to narrow it down because as I was picking things up, I was like, oh no, this is a specific product that I was going to talk about, and I was like, this is just strictly tools. So it's not a whole lot, so hopefully this video won't be too long. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so the first things I want to talk about, I think I want to try to go in order of how you would use them as you're applying. So the first things I want to talk about is this, tweezers. And this might be like a, oh, tweezers, what are you talking about? Let me just tell you, these babies have been with me forever. I've had these tweezers since I was 14 years old. The logo of the brand is rubbed off, but these are Revlon tweezers I got when I was 14, so almost 13 years ago I got these babies. And they are the most incredible tweezers I have ever used in my life. And let me tell you, they're still sharp. Still sharp. I think it's partly what I like about it is the angle that they're at. They're not pointy, but they're angled, so it helps me really get in there and get my hairs. And I'm obsessed with tweezing, so I tweeze my eyebrows all the time. Like anytime before I put makeup on, I'm tweezing and getting little stray hairs away because my hair grows really, really fast. So I feel like I kind of need to tweeze every day. Probably not necessary, but I feel like I need to tweeze every day. So tweezers are really important. I really suggest you kind of go out and invest in a good pair of tweezers. Tweezerman is a good brand. I know they sell them at Sephora, and I'm pretty sure Ulta has them as well. I don't know if you can find that brand in drugstores. I've never really looked. I bought different tweezers throughout the years just to have like a backup pair, but they've never worked as well and I ended up losing them. But these babies are like amazing. Invest in tweezers. They are life-saving, especially when you don't have time to go get your eyebrows waxed or threaded or maintain. If you pay for someone to do it, do it. I don't get my eyebrows tweezed. I don't get my eyebrows waxed anymore. It's probably been a good 3 years since I had an eyebrow waxing. And along with that, I would suggest getting eyebrow trimmers. Now these I picked up at Target. I love these things because I don't get my eyebrows done professionally and my hairs grow really fast. I have to trim my eyebrows probably, I don't know, once a month probably. I go in and trim. I actually just trimmed before I started filming and I love these things. I would really suggest, if you are someone who does not get your eyebrows done professionally, to go invest in a pair of trimmers, little scissors. And if you would like to see a video on how I trim and maintain my eyebrows, leave a comment down below or give a thumbs up or something. Let me know and I will do that video next time I need to, you know, cut them suckers down. But for your eyebrows, I would highly recommend these two tools to have in your kit. So the next thing I want to talk about is lash curler. Now this might seem like a weird thing to put in, but I really strongly feel that these are very important. Mine are from Sephora. I just went on the Sephora website when I needed to buy a new curler and the color sold me. It's just the Sephora brand. I'll put a link down below. I don't know, I don't remember. These might have been 10 bucks or something, and I've had them probably for a good year at this point. I love these things. They do the trick. They're really, really good. I need to clean them because they're gross. But I really think that lash curlers are really important for just helping you look more doe-eyed or awake and fresh. Just, you know, curl your lash, give it a couple of squeezes, and then throw on some mascara and you're fine. You don't need falsies on a day-to-day basis if you're not that kind of person. Like, I don't wear falsies on a day-to-day basis. So I just curl my lashes and throw on mascara and I'm fine. And I naturally do hold a curl in my lashes. So, I just have to do this once in the day. If you are someone that unfortunately either doesn't hold the curl in their lash or it's really hard for you to get any type of curl in your lash, say you kind of go straight or something, I have done it before and I've heard that you can heat this up. I just one time used a hairdryer and I just blew some hot air onto it for a couple seconds and then I made sure it wasn't gonna like burn me, and I went in and it actually gave me a better curl. So that's always a thought or like a technique you could use to get a better curl out of your lashes. But definitely I think eyelash curler is pretty dang important when it comes to daily makeup. So yes, I would suggest picking one up. Every brand sells these almost. Drugstores, up to like really expensive ones. I think even like Chanel makes lash curlers, but probably for, you know, the average girl, you don't have to spend that much. Just go to Target or your local drugstore and you can pick up a pair for like $5 probably. So yes, that is my next thing. The next two things, we're going to kind of move on to face, and the next two things are beauty sponges. Now these are two different kinds. This is a beauty blender. I'm sure all of you have heard of beauty blenders, either have one, seen videos on it, seen them used in some way. I would highly recommend these two, and I'll tell you why. So the beauty blender kind of changed the beauty sponge market. Is incredible. Here, this is the original beauty blender. These are just dirty, so that's why I didn't pull this one out. This is dirty, but you can't really see it. So they're, if you feel them, they're kind of like different. This is more porous almost feeling, and this is kind of more smooth, but they do the same job. They are designed for different things, but I won't get into that. But yes, beauty blender. So this is not wet, but what you do is you run this under cold water and you squeeze all the water out and it expands to like not quite this big, but something like this size. And you can use this for foundation, concealer, powders, cream, contouring, everything. This little sponge is everything. You honestly could probably do almost all of your face makeup just using a beauty blender if you learn how to use it like a pro. Like I said, I've used loose powders and even set my foundation with a beauty blender because it's just so incredible. It absorbs all of the extra product so you're not cake face. So say you're putting on a thick foundation, and sometimes it can be really cakey. Like the Kat Von D foundation is really thick, and if you're not applying it correctly, it's gonna look like you have a layer of foundation on, and that's not really what you want. I mean, there are full coverage and then there's full coverage. When I'm applying my foundation is I dot it all over my face, and then I'll use the beauty blender and I will push it into my skin. I don't rub, I push it into my skin. So my skin is absorbing it, and as I do that, the beauty blender is picking up the excess. So there's nothing like left on my face that I don't really want. So I do this with foundation. I do it with concealer. And this is the Real Techniques beauty sponge, and this I will say is just as good as this. I like the beauty blender a little bit better. I think it does a little bit better job putting on foundation for me personally on my skin, but I did use this today and I absolutely love this sponge. I love how it's shaped. I love this flat that you can really get onto like all of the different angles of your face, and then of course it has the pointy tip like the beauty blender does, and it helps you get under your eye and blend out concealers and all that. I wet this just like the beauty blender. Any beauty sponge you need to wet and wring out, so it's all bouncy like this. And as you can see, this is dirty because it did absorb all of the makeup that did not need to go on my face. And I love beauty sponges. So the beauty blender is about $20 for an individual. I think these are about $8 and they're great. The next thing, which is kind of the last thing, but it's a big category, and that is going to be makeup brushes. These are just a couple of them that I have. This is a foundation brush. This is a flat top kabuki. This is a F80, I believe. Yes, F80 from Sigma. And this I love to apply foundation when I'm not using a beauty blender. And what I'll do with this is I always dab my foundation onto my face with freshly clean hands so you're not spreading bacteria. And I go in and I will like press it in and then kind of buff it into my skin. That's the best way I find to get a really clean application. I really would suggest investing in some type of foundation brush. Now, there are lots of them out there. There are foundation brushes that look like this. This is a stippling brush that people enjoy using. A lot of people like using round brushes like this to kind of buff it in to their skin. I've seen people use this particular brush. This is a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush that you can go in and put in your foundation. The next one I love is this little baby, and this is a Real Techniques setting brush. It's super dirty right now, but it's because, as you can see, the powder comes off of it. But I use this every day I do my makeup to set my concealer. And I love this brush because it is so small and it fits in so well under my eye. And what I do is I use the beauty blender, blend in my concealer, go in with whatever powders I'm using that day. I typically use brightening powders under my eyes. And I will press it in underneath, and that's going to help your concealer not crease. I am definitely someone who has to always set their concealer because I do have fine lines under my eyes, and within seconds my concealer is creasing. I would suggest a tiny little brush like this. It doesn't have to be Real Techniques. I just love Real Technique brushes because they are incredible and they are priced very well. And so yeah, it's amazing. This is I think it's a blush brush. It is a blush brush, but I use this as my bronzer brush. And I like it because of how big it is. I absolutely love this brush. It is the best one I have found so far for bronzing for me personally, just I think because of the shape of the brush. Love it. I would suggest in a bronzer brush. They're amazing. Amazing. This is a stippling brush. This is the Real Techniques stippling brush. And out of all the brushes that I'm mentioning, this is probably one of the most essential brushes I feel like for applying makeup, and I will tell you why. If you're a girl who's putting on a contour, bronzer, blush, highlighter, all that stuff, that's a lot of products you're putting on your face, and that's a lot of different areas that you're hitting. Contour, bronze, blush, highlight. It's like, you know, and they're so close together that it's kind of easy to create like defined areas and lines. So you need a stippling brush in your life to blend all that out. So every day, I always have on bronzer and blush, always. So I go in and I blend it all out. I will stipple it out and I will blend those colors together, and it makes you look a little bit more, I want to say flawless, wow. Or I don't want to say maybe airbrushed in a way, but it makes everything look smoother and more seamless on your face. So I would highly recommend getting a stippling brush. They are life-changing. Once I got this guy, I was like, I can't believe I've lived so long without a stippling brush. Incredible. Love it. Can't live without it. Anyway. Next, I'm going to mention two brushes for your eyes, and one is a big tapered blending brush. This is an E40 from Sigma, and this is another blending brush. This is an E25 from Sigma, and I chose these two both because they do two different things, and also they're two different hairs. So this is all synthetic hair. And I love this for the crease. This blends out your crease so well. You can go in there with any color, blend it into your crease, do your windshield wiper back and forth motions, and it makes your eyeshadow look really good. It blows it out for you. And these brushes are really great when you're trying to blend. It basically does all the work for you. Now this is another blending brush. This is more of a tapered brush, and it's much thinner than the E40, and this is really good for precise application of colors right into your crease. The other thing I love about this brush that I think everyone needs is this is a natural hair brush. What these brushes do is they absorb some of the color. So if you're working with a dark color and you're like, do I want a lot of it? Whatever. So this makes it really hard to put too much color in one spot, and it's really good for building up darker colors. These two babies together are amazing. Love them. Can't live without them. And the last thing I want to mention, it's kind of silly, but are these babies. And these things are going to be your best friends when you're applying makeup. As long as they are freshly washed, never use dirty hands to apply makeup. But these are great for putting color on your lids if you're in a hurry, tapping out concealer, tapping on cream blushes or stuff like that. So don't ever forget about your fingers because they are very helpful as well. I really hope everyone has a happy St. Patrick's Day because I am filming on Tuesday. And if you are going out, make sure you drink responsibly. Do not drive. Call an Uber or whatever variation of that in your city they have. A taxi, walk, Didi, whatever. Just be careful, and I hope everyone has a good time, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!